Okay, good morning. This is the meeting of the Public Relations Committee, Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023 at 11 a.m. Call the meeting to order. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Member Ivan Sewell.
Here.
Chairman Robert Griffith.
Here.
Thank you. Staff present is Arturo Ceja, Arden Wallam, Brian Macy. Is Marion joining us?
Yes.
And Marion Champion. Thank you. We have quorum for this meeting.
Thank you. At this time, we have any members of the public who would like to address the committee on matters within our jurisdiction. Keep them for comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody, Dory?
We do not.
Okay. So our first item for discussion is appeal of water consumption charges for 66249 Avenida Barona. A discussion and recommendation to the Board of Directors on appeal of water consumption charges. I believe we have Arturo here to speak for us. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you, Chairman Griffith and Member Sewell. I'm just going to present the information in regards to the conversations we've had with Mr. Ree on his account at 66249 Avenida Barona. So you get an idea of what the current account balance that he is here to speak to you about. What caused primarily the issue here is when COVID hit, the state issued the moratorium on shutting off customer accounts. At that point, the tenant on this property accumulated a balance roughly $4,000, which included late fees. We went back and forth with the tenant, later on with the owner, Mr. Ree, to discuss his account. In March of 2021, we did remove $535 in late fees per the request of the tenant. We also set up a payment plan to accommodate the account. In December of 2021, the moratorium ended. However, the state required the district to reach out to tenants and owners to set up a payment plan on the accounts before we could shut them off. That happened. We did reach out to our customers. We did through the help with public affairs, did set up a outreach program to make sure that customers were aware that they had to reach out to the district and set up a payment plan. Otherwise, we were going to go and shut them off. SB 998, in addition, also made requirements that we had to go through, which was primarily a 60-day notice, and finally a 15-day notice before we could shut them off. And even then, if we showed up on the 15th day after the notice was issued and we made contact with the customer, they could then at that point ask and request additional time to come in and settle their account. In January 2022, additionally, we did include this account with the state arrearage request, and we received $723 from the state to apply to this account. In January, the tenant also reached out to ask about the charges and asked about a possible leak on the account, which was the main reason for the high balance of their bills. On April 5th, we finally heard back from the tenant to set up a payment plan per the requirements of the state. They made a payment at that point of $100. They also applied to United Way, which made an additional $100 payment on their behalf on April 25th. The owner, Mr. Reed, did reach out to us in June 2nd to let us know that he was in the process of evicting the tenant. At that point, the tenant made a $200 payment on the account and set up an additional payment plan on the account. After speaking with Mr. Ree, who was not comfortable with the balance on the account, he wanted to see what we could do to remove the balance because the tenant was the one who accumulated these fees. We let him know that at that point, the accumulation of late fees was $2,340, and that was the only thing we could remove from the account. We also informed the owner about LIHEAP and LIWAP to apply, which could reduce the balance on the account. We understand Mr. Ree's frustration of the time that it took for us to shut off the account. We were basically following the state's requirements as it pertains to water shutoffs in regards to the 60-day notice, and then again 15 days. So in June, when he reached out to us, we sent out a bill on June 15th, July 15th, and August 11th. That would have been the 60-day time frame for us to come and shut off the account for non-payment. Finally, on September 13th, we had a new tenant come and apply for service, at which time we informed them of the situation. On September 19th, Mr. Ree reached out back to us saying, I cannot pay those balances. Please remove the entire balance on the account. It was left by my tenant. We told him again, the only thing we can remove, because it's from June to now, the accumulation of late fees of $217.02, which was what we removed at that point. And finally, we have reached out to the account on record, alerting them that there is continuous usage on the account of water flowing through the meter, which indicates a leak, which could point out to the reason why some of these bills are high, and a required repair on the customer side at this point. We have removed all the late fees on the account since we started having issues with the account being late. At this point, we cannot reduce any more of the balance, because we are talking about usage and actual cost of the water used on the account. And that is the summary that I have on this account. If I can answer any other questions.
Thank you. I think at this time, would like to hear from Mr. Ree. So Mr. Ree,
Yes,
welcome.
sir.
So would you like to speak to this matter?
Yes, sir. I'll start it right now. I got a limited English, so I gotta talk real slow and try to. If you don't understand me, you can ask me again. Okay. First of all, I got a couple of corrections for you guys. Whatever Mr. Sayas said, June 2nd, I didn't reach out to tell them they're gonna evict it, because eviction started like late, and I don't recall I called the water company that June. That's I'm corrected that thing. Okay. Okay, let me start it. A long time ago, when you come in, my tenants, so before I sign them up, with my tenant like 7, 8, 9 years ago, I don't know the exact date, but I ask your representative, because hey, I'm assigned for any water, whatever they left the balance, that's my responsibility. So I asked that a lady that worked for you guys. I go, hey, what happened? Somehow they keep, you don't shut it off and keep bills goes up. Do I still pay? Go, no, don't worry about it. After they deposit down, after a little while, we shut it off. You maybe lose $300-400. I go, oh, no big deal. So I go, I'm okay with it. Some COVID-19 comes up. We got different circumstances. But before I tell you about a thing, and let me talk about my tenant. They are Section 8, and then they are very, very bad credit with me and anybody else. Because even me, Section 8 pay part of a rent. Their part, like $80 sometimes $90, sometimes $50. They haven't paid for a long time. So they don't keep their word. So I wasn't happy about it, but Section 8 pay most of like 80% of rent, so I can deal with them. And then my thing is this. I understand that 2020. Oh, second thing I gotta correct. Mr. Sayas said when I called him and I got entire, that balances, I want to rid of it. No, I didn't say that. I say I think 2022 January to September, that is not my fault. I think you guys are fault. Basically, I told him that. So I didn't say tell him that entire balance was like I don't want to pay. No, I'm fair guy. I teach in martial art. I've been this for a long time. I'm a very honest guy. And then 2021 end up, they only pay my record. They only pay 2021. Last payments was like March 20. Hold on. Oh yeah, last payment like March 22, like $590 they pay. After that, they don't pay nothing. I mean, they're bad credit. They take that system, take advantage. And then when you look at their history, they always late. They are so, I mean, they don't pay. Actually, they're very sneaky, tricky people. And you should know about their history about, them. So you cannot shut it off because of a law, 2021 until December, you can't really shut it off. I'm okay with it. I can, take a, response for it. I do. But after that, look at the history. And then I remember that from my people that the government recommended to you guys. You can payments plan, blah. They talk to them, blah. It's a kind of recommendation, but when they look at the history, you shouldn't believe them, my opinion. And then 2022, they only got 2 payments, April and June, and then I didn't even June. Why pay June 2nd 200? Because they didn't get eviction yet. Why they pay? They already. I called Mr. Sales and they eviction. They didn't know that. I think the eviction started at end of June, or I don't know the exact day. If you guys want, I can provide that. I think Mr. Sales a little recall. He make a little mistake. I didn't reach out. Why they pay $200 June 2nd? They find that they move out evicted. So basically, my opinion is this: when they look at the history of the tenants, you guys review the history of the tenants, and just like credit company, you gotta treat everybody different. Oh, damn, it's not trustable. So they haven't paid for 2021. They haven't paid any payments, 21 payments in March. So basically, December, when your lot change, January, you should go act right away. Call them. Hey, you got 60 days. Hey, pay. Otherwise, they're gonna shut it off. They didn't do that. They keep waiting, wait until April. They pay $100. And in my opinion, they should don't listen to recommendation. You really don't have to listen to the government. Your decision, I thought. So take it. You gotta deal by any different individual. Recommended, oh, you can give you a payment plan. Okay, some people do, oh, good credit, I'm decent. You can go okay with it. But damn, look at the history. Really, really bad. So by my opinion, Mr. Says, that office should act faster. So 2022, all the bills, I don't think it's fair to, this is my responsibility. I'll take it 2021 because I signed the, that papers. I'm okay with it. Even different circumstance, but I'm okay with it. But I just think it's fair with 2021 January to 2022 January to 2022 like September. I don't think. I mean, you guys should consider what I'm talking to you guys. So that's the final my thing. So
Well,
I hope you guys understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's see if anybody has any questions. Director, so you have any questions?
Just if maybe we could get a little more clarification on this year's from January 2022 through now, I guess, of the process as far as we're required to try and set up the payment plan before we cut off, and what our timing is, just to.
Yeah, the state, before we could shut anyone off, we had to make contact with each customer and set up a payment plan. We could not just go in and shut it off without any notification and without speaking to them. We had to give them the opportunity to make a payment plan, and we could only do that after we made contact with them. And so we did an outreach from starting in January that went through April, telling all our customers through door hangers and also the auto dialer, leaving voice messages, letting them know that we were in the process of shutting them off, and they had to reach out to the district to set up a payment plan. We did that through April, giving them enough time to do that before we just went out in there and started the shut off process. But that was what the state required. We could not, again, because we had not heard back from this particular customer, we couldn't start the shut off process earlier until we actually spoke to them. And they did call us on April 5th, which is when we started everything again, setting up a payment plan. If they had said, I don't want a payment plan, we would shut them off at that point. But that's what we were following.
I think that's all.
Okay, can I talk? Okay.
I have really just points of clarification here. So just so we're clear, so once we can't do anything until we contact them after the moratorium. Once they start that payment plan, they make a payment. If they're late on that payment, say 2 months, once they make another payment, then it kind of starts the clock and resets it all over again, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Ray, I would like to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
So I notes here in January 2022 that the tenant had reached out regarding charges and thinks that there is something wrong and was informed of a continuous flow and a possible leak. we've also heard that new tenants have also said that there is a potential leak. Have you investigated that?
Yeah, we fixed it.
So
fixed
there
it.
was a leak at that time?
They're leaking that time.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, but I know you wanted to speak, so go right ahead.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The thing is, I was there like they evicted like August, end of August. We didn't get nothing. I mean, no shut off, a letter doing nothing. So if continue, it's my opinion, new tenant didn't come in till like say December, you gotta continue to get the bill, my opinion. They didn't do any act. I mean, I didn't hear from nothing. They're gonna shut it up, no letters, nothing. Until my new tenant, get what is it, mid of September, they sign it. So my opinion, they should at least, if Mr. Sales tell truth, they should give me letters. I can shut it off. At least they have letters because they evicted. So I look at the mailbox, there's nothing from Mission Waters. And my opinion, I mean, government recommendations, so you have to follow their rules. I mean, recommendations. I don't know exactly the thin line. Recommendation, government recommendation. You got to talk to tenants. Give them what type of payments. But to me, if my opinion, I mean, recommendations. If you really don't want to look at the credit of your tenants, you should do something about it. Otherwise, I didn't do anything wrong, and that I got killed. So I thought it wasn't fair. So I tell Mr. Sale that it's not fair. He goes, I understand it's not fair, but that's how it is. So I thought that was not really that fair. That's my final, statements.
Okay, thank you.
If new tenant, if I got advertising in Section 8, take 2-3 months, I don't think do anything. Mission Water not gonna do anything because I didn't hear nothing. They move out. They basically kicked out. They say that they moved out already, but I get in there like end of August. Then I got new tenant coming in. But if I didn't get a new tenant right away, I don't think it continued till a couple of months, 3 months. I mean, they didn't do anything, no act. They have no effort to, chasing people down and shut it off. They just kind of lenient, kind of relax, and so that's I wasn't happy about it. They should act fast. I should get a little, get a better benefit. I mean, I'm, I got 4 kids. I mean, I don't want to say this, but go to college. I mean, it's tough, So okay. I didn't do anything wrong. Only thing is I signed the contract, and then the lady that, hey, worst scenario, 300, 400, that's about it. So I go, okay. So I didn't worry about it. The news circumstances coming in. So why don't you give me a benefit because COVID-19? Why don't you give to me too a little bit in consideration? This I tell me say about they have no laws like that, so they go by law. But to me, recommendation is a recommendation. They didn't require, they really forced a law. Law been changed in December of 2021. So I'm just disputing that. 2021, whatever I owe, whatever they leak, I'll take care of it somehow, some way. I try to fair.
Thank you. I do want to reiterate, I understand your feelings, but in terms of that you don't feel after 2021, it's yours. There are procedures that legally we must follow. We are a special district. We are not a for-profit corporation, so we have to follow the law, which means we have to reach out to the individual who's responsible for the bill, which in this case, it was in the tenant's name. However, ultimately it falls on the owner of the property if that's not paid. And so the reason that as far as giving you some exceptions for the assistance that came through, that actually goes to the account. It doesn't go to the individual, it goes to the account, and that would be the account holder's name, which it did. Mr. Reed, can you tell me when was that leak repaired?
Recently.
Recently. So since March 30th.
New tenant coming in.
Since March 30th?
No. This like 3 weeks ago. Fixed it.
Okay. So a leak was reported in January, and we're looking at what, another 14 months before it was fixed?
No, they didn't report it to me. I don't talk to you. They don't pay rent. Okay, listen to, yes, sir.
Okay,
Listen to this.
okay, listen, you need to listen when I'm
Yes,
speaking,
sir.
okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
First, I need you to understand that it's not our job to determine whether or not someone is creditworthy as
Okay.
a water utility. If someone applies and puts a bill in their name, they have a bill. It's not our responsibility to look at their history, whether they're Section 8 or they're not Section 8 is really
Okay.
irrelevant. What is
Okay.
relevant to this is in terms of the timeline, what was done. Did we follow the law? Did we not follow the law? According to what I see, I feel that we did. We did remove, and I wrote this down, a total of $3,816, $33,816 in late fees were removed.
Okay.
Ultimately, as a homeowner, you are responsible for the balance. And I want to say something here so you understand how the law works. It's not always in the favor of people, but Proposition 218 determines what we can and cannot do in terms of our rates. Article 8, D, Section 6 says the amount of fee imposed upon any particular person as an incident of property ownership, you're the property owner, must not exceed the proportional cost of the service attributable to the parcel. What that means is that we can't charge your neighbor for water that you used. And so if we were to say, no, we don't need you to pay this payment, what would happen is that means that every other ratepayer would have to subsidize that. And that is something that legally we cannot do. So I do need you to understand that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, that repairs fixed because I didn't know that they're leaking till recently. I didn't talk, my ex-tenants, they didn't even talk to me because they owe them rent. So that's I clarified. But I like to considering, my situation is special circumstances, my opinion. I mean, it's once in a decade, once in a centuries happen like this. So I just asking, consideration about what happened. Executive law, maybe you're right. I mean, you're right, but this new special circumstances, and then I talked to a representative, she was expecting 400 to 500, so I'm okay with it. And then now COVID-19, and that's a totally special circumstance. So I tried to tell Mr. Sayre that I know what's the law, you make sense, but consideration about this account. Because I didn't know water was leaking, that's why it's really high until recently. Because I haven't talked my ex-tenant. If they call me, I'll go right away fix it. I'm very good with that, but they didn't reach me because they don't want to reach me. I couldn't reach them either. They don't answer the phone.
Okay, thank you.
That's my
Okay, thank you. Final?
I just wanted to make sure, Mr. Reed was receiving copies of these bills that he was able to see that they were high bills.
Yeah, when a tenant is delinquent, we do send a delinquent bill copy to the owner where it's a red bill. You can't miss it. It says this is a delinquent bill, and it goes through the process of here's what the process is. We're gonna shut you off. Here's the balance, and here's the next steps. So he was getting a copy of those delinquent bills.
Okay, and then I have 6 times it looks like we've contacted them regarding a possible leak or continuous flow. Are those all to the tenant or?
That I have to find out. I saw copies of the door hanger and a couple of calls that were made. I'm not sure where the phone number that we called was. It might have been the tenant and not the owner in this instance.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, Mr. Reed, do you have any other properties that are in Mission Springs Water District?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are those bills similar amounts as far as monthly? Or?
Those are like $60 to $80 a month. This this people has about 5, 8, 9 people coming in. A lot of people. I mean, I heard even my new tenants said they got like thousands of letters coming from different names. They kind of rent it out. So I thought like my water bill is like $170. I got big. I mean, my house, I got big property. So I thought they got a bunch of people live there. So I thought that was normal because I look at the history long time ago, like 5, 6 years ago, like $80, 120, suddenly 180. So I didn't really suspicious about nothing about water leak. I didn't know nothing about it because I pay like 150, 160 a month. This house I'm living in. And then that house, I don't want to say this is my little exaggeration, but that's my gut feeling. They got a lot of something going on, drug going on, a bunch of guys. I mean, that's I heard from neighbors. Eva next door, because I got her phone numbers. But a lot of people. There's people so glad they move out. There are a lot of people. They got teenager kids too, but they got a lot of, a lot of people. I expecting, water bill was, I didn't suspicious about a leak. But this tenant call, this tenant's pretty good, and it makes sense. They tried, they go shut it up the, what they call house, inside house, we shut up the house, and then between the meter and, driveway, the meters are also running, so it makes sense. So I went down there, fixed it. If my ex-tenant do that, fixed right away. But they never contact, I never suspicious about high water because 130, 140, sometimes 200, whoa, I see, I see with, I got record, I copy up, that, like 5-6 years, that the bills. So I look at all of it, it's a little high, but I never have, thought about this water leak.
Well, I definitely think that the leak kind of exacerbated the problem. And I would just say, at least for the future, if we could look into making sure that the
Yes,
leak
sir.
is fixed. I know you said it's fixed, but we can look on our end to make sure there's no
Yes, sir.
continuous flow.
I never hear from Mission Orders, give me a letter, or it seems like it's leaking. I never had to receive anything. If I hear this from them, even then I cannot really fix it because I got a proof from my tenant. They don't answer the phone. I can just go into their house. So even I find it out, but I didn't find it out. I didn't get no letter, nothing. Even you give me a letter, say a bunch of them, I cannot come. So basically, I didn't get any letter from Mr. Sayers, it's suspicious water leak. But even that, I just cannot get it. The day just doesn't answer any. I haven't talked for a long time.
Well, I appreciate all of your information and, I think it's unfortunate the situation you're in,
Yes.
but being a landlord, a property owner, it does come with some risk. Again, I appreciate all the information you provided. Thank you.
Only thing I consideration is like special circumstances. Otherwise, I'm no problem with it. $600-700, $8, even $8, I'm okay with it. But this is like special circumstances, COVID-19.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna discuss, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So
That's consideration and fairness. That's what I'm asking. Not the law. I want to be fairness and do the consideration.
okay, and as I said, we are bound by the law. So
understand.
even though you may not think that the law is important here, the reality is that we can't do anything that would go against the law. That would be illegal, and we can't do anything that's illegal. And as I said, if we were to say waive charges on someone's water bill, that would come at the expense of other ratepayers. And so when you talk about what is fair, that would be unfair to the other ratepayers. And so you may not feel it's fair to you, but I believe that our ratepayers would be very upset if we had to raise their rates to cover the losses of landlords who have tenants who refuse to pay their bills. So I need you to understand that we are bound by the law. If there's no other discussion, I'm going to state that from my perspective, and I will ask, let me ask Director Sewell, his perspective in terms of the appeal. Is it something that you would recommend when we go to the board that we accept or that we reject?
I think we're forced to reject, as far as the law is concerned. I am happy that staff was able to work with you to remove, it looks like over 3,000 of late fees. And I don't know if there's any more assistance we can direct him to possibly getting to help pay this amount.
We have reached out to Mr. Reed that LIWAP, who that can actually help homeowners, not just tenants at this point, up to $2,000, and we've provided that information so he could apply. And the only issue there might be the income requirements. We're not sure if what those are at this point because it keeps changing. But we have provided that information that, to my knowledge, that's the only other alternative that is available.
Okay, thank you.
That'd be nice. I like that.
Okay, thank you. And I have to concur. Unfortunately, the law kind of ties our hands when it comes to these kind of things. We did remove $3,800 in late charges. Unfortunately, any of the assistance that came from the arrearage funds due to COVID goes to the account holder. Had you been the account holder, then that money would have gone to you. But since the account holder was the tenant, it went towards their bill. And having said what the 218 requires us, we are legally bound for these charges to be paid because they would go to the other ratepayers. So I have to say that our recommendation to the board at the next meeting would be that the appeal be rejected. That's all I have at this time. Would you like to add anything? Okay. So Mr. Reed, this will go before the board at the next meeting, which I believe is May 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, May 15th. So I would recommend that you attend that meeting. You'll have another opportunity to speak to the board about this, at which time we'll present our recommendations. Okay.
Okay, and then a question for that $2,000. I mean, how do I'm really have bad information. I mean, how do I get the information? Mr.
I'll
Sayas.
forward you the email again.
Mr. Seha will send you all the information you need.
Yeah, email. And then can you give me a little guide, because I'm really bad. English is hard for me. It's hard to follow the that procedure. So if you guide me, I'll definitely do that.
Yes, he will do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then next meeting, I have to be there. This meeting too, right? Next meeting, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
What day? Mr. Say, gotta give me an email, correct?
Yes, he'll send you all the information, the time of the
Okay.
meeting and everything. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much. With that,
Yes, sir. It's done.
yes, we're adjourned.
Have a great day. Thank you, sir.
You too.
Bye-bye.